Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. As you can see, I'm in a sweater, so it's very obvious that I'm not in Hawaii, right? I have made it to my family's place in Pennsylvania, and thank you for the lovely wishes from some of you. It's a successful long trip from Hawaii, but I made it and here I am. So today we are going to talk about when our family or our friends comment on our body and our food. So this is a time of togetherness. This is a time of togetherness with family and friends. Some of them we adore, some of them we don't. Some of them we do, but then they make comments about our body and our food, and it feels really, really uncomfortable, especially for those who are very sensitive, right? Or in a process with our food and our body and wanting to feel better and wanting to feel safe with food and safe in our body. And we haven't found that place that we're living in all the time. And here we are in a stressful time around the holidays where many people can be overwhelmed with a lot of things going on, and food can be the way that we cope. So adding to that, we can feel some shame around these times. So add that all up, and then someone in your family saying something like, wow, you're going for seconds, or, oh gosh, you're, wow, you're packing on the pounds this year, huh? Right? That like old uncle that does have no filter, right? There's so many ways that people can say things that can trigger us. I can remember having, I don't know, it wasn't over the holidays, I don't think, it was a time of a whole family getting together, and they were literally, it was like one side of the family and the other side of the family, and they were talking about exercise. And I was over the top triggered and so uncomfortable and felt so like just ucky in my skin. And it just really, really triggered me. And it wasn't even someone saying anything to me. So the most important thing that we can do is to set ourselves up for success. And we've talked about this in many of the videos. We talked about it in the travel video. We talked about it when we were talking about planning. I think in one of the first videos I did, is that we need to plan for the people that we're going to see. So if you know that your mom's going to say something, or you know that you're going to be around a cousin who makes comments, then you need to set yourself up and plan for this and think about it and be aware that it may be triggering. What can you do to support yourself? So here are some things that I like to do, which is there's two ways to go about this. One is, if I am triggered, there's a reason I'm triggered, and it may not be their fault. It could be touching upon something that is very sensitive to me, right? So I want to be with that. And I want to think, okay, this is going to be really uncomfortable. And they may say things. And what am I going to do? And how am I going to handle it? And how am I going to take care of myself? So I'm thinking ahead. So maybe I come up with something I say, right? Very specific, like, yeah, we're not talking about my food. Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about, and this comes into the second point that I'm going to make about creating boundaries. But you're going to create a boundary, or you're going to just speak your truth, right? And so we're looking inward, and we're being, how can I be with this for myself? And then externally, we're going to create boundaries. Okay. But we have to plan for this, and we have to think about it a little bit and take some time for ourselves to say, okay, this may happen. And, what people used to say to me is, aren't you just going to eat the food that we all eat? Well, you have to eat your grandma's, whatever it was. And luckily, my family is very accommodating. And, there were times where they said things because they were actually worried. So I want you to think about that. Could it be that the person is saying something to you because they're actually worried? Could it be it may feel really uncomfortable and triggering to you, but it could be coming from a place of, yeah, I don't know. I can remember my grandma saying to me once, "Oh, Marla, I'm just so glad you gained some weight. You just look so much better." And I was like, I gained weight? I didn't even know I gained weight. Oh my gosh. But, she was being concerned about me when I had gotten a little too thin, and she was commenting on how good I looked at this heavier weight, which was very triggering. And so having someone to speak to about this, even if it's a sibling or someone else being like, "Oh my gosh, you're never going to, you're not even believe what, Pap said to me. He just said my ass looked huge," or whatever it was, right? Having someone to, oh, by the way, you're probably going to hear family over there. My mom's making food for a party we're having, and my son's running around. Um, so once once we take ourselves and are very compassionate with ourselves, we can set up boundaries. We can set up a very clear boundary. So that boundary may be, which I already said, like, we're not talking about my body this year, or lay off. See, I find the best way to do this is from a calm place, from not a reactive place, but from a responsive place. So it could be something along the lines of, what I just said, as far as like, we're not talking about this year. It could also be putting it back on them, right? "Oh, we're going to go for three slices of pie this year." It's like, "Oh, or are we going to not eat the pie because we're so worried about gaining half a pound?" That's probably a little not okay, but I'm just saying. That's probably not the best example, but I know that I've heard people say things like, "Okay, I don't really want to talk about dieting and losing weight. I'm actually feeling a little uncomfortable with my body. I'm not feeling that safe. So I really appreciate if we didn't talk about that." So it really depends on your family, depends on your environment. I find that coming from my heart, and if there's an emotion attached to it, and someone in my family or friends knows that what they're saying is actually hurting me, chances are they will care. Now, some families, not so much, right? So that all depends on who you're dealing with here. But if you can come from your heart, if someone says something to you and be like, "Wow, that really hurts my feelings. That doesn't feel very nice to me." When we do that, we can create a boundary, and we can be like, "Oh," they may be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," right? So leaning towards honesty as much as you can is really important. So the other issue, not the other issue, the other way to be with this is to go to the heart. And then some of it is like, can I let it go? Is it that big of a deal? Like, when I was vegetarian, "Oh, you don't eat meat, but can I get you some chicken?" Right? Or making comments like, "Oh, you don't eat that. Do you eat that? Do you eat that?" Right? And it's, like, oh, well, what am I going to do? Right? Can I get over it and enjoy whatever aspect of my holiday, my day, my evening with someone, without letting these little comments about my body and my food interrupt my opportunity for connection with myself and with others? So that's going to be a balance for you. And that's going to have to be maybe after you've worked through some deeper stuff that you can let it go. Maybe it is right away. You're like, "You know what? This year, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to eat as much as I want, and I don't care if my family comments on it. I'm going to eat as little as I want, and I'm not going to care what my family says," right? So I'm not telling you to restrict, by the way. I'm just telling you, sometimes families who have large appetites when someone in their family is maybe, feeling in and listening a little bit more and not eating quite as much, there's comments in that way, right? So, but can you allow yourself to step up and inside yourself and listen to your body and not your family and your friends? Now, for some people, when we get comments about our food, it is easier to handle. When we get comments about our body, that's really hard. It's often no way around it. It can sting. And I just want you to come back to compassion for yourself and let this holiday and being aware of when you are triggered and what is present for you to slow you down and for you to think about, how do I want to move into this new year? What behaviors, what thoughts, what ways am I this holiday that I come around next year? I don't want to be. I don't want to feel upset about, my grandma pointing this, the size of my butt out or whatever. It's a very good way to get clear and to be with yourself, and not a place of shame, but a place of looking forward. As you know, this work, and if you're here, you're going to pick up tidbits of help from me. And a lot of what I share is seeds for deeper work. So I'm telling you to create a boundary, but you may not even know what that means or even how to do that, right? You may not even know how to go deeper in and find compassion for yourself, or, plan ahead and even know what that means, or respond instead of react. So these concepts may sound like a good idea, but they actually need a lot more work. And that is why I'm here, is to support people to do that. So if that is something that you're wanting now in the new year, then I want you to reach out to me. You can PM me, or you can say yes below and I'll reach out to you. We can have a conversation about how I can help you. The new year's coming and everyone's going to be talking about losing weight. And for some of us, that could happen as a result of listening to our bodies and listening to a healthier way of being. And for some of us, that just feels like another coping mechanism. So how can we lean into this new year, knowing that the more we friend ourselves and the more that we take care of ourselves, the more we are going to find our authentic body. And that's what I'm here to help you do. So I'm wishing all of you a really wonderful holiday and a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year and all those wonderful things. Next week, we're going to talk about stress, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you a practice that you can do. Also going to invite you to come to my Reiki Circle, which is next Wednesday, the 22nd at 3:00 Pacific Standard Time, 6:00 Eastern Time. And that is going to be a wonderful way for you to slow down, stop, receive some meditation, some breath, and some deep healing so that you can actually enjoy the holiday spirit. Okay. Bye, everyone. Sending you so much love.